Howdy ho. I watched the last episode too, so I'm very aware that I'm kind of weird. And I'm an artist, so I guess it's okay. Whew. I'm Brian Batista, and my friends call me Bunny. It's a long story, and I'm in my studio on a quiet Sunday. This is Atelier Artista in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. This is episode 91. Then what happened? By the age of 15 or 16, when I was certain that I wanted to be a professional artist, the thing is there's no exact or clear roadmap on how to become a professional artist, what to do, and what it entails. Because I think for each individual creative, your story, your background, your life, and environmental conditions are all going to have a factor in the way you take this road. My initial art school training after high school ended up being different, I suppose, than what I thought it was supposed to be or what I had expected. By about third year, I really caught on to how it was really contemporary and ideas-based, about discovering and experimenting with materials more than learning the techniques of the old masters or how to shade and round form. It was about story and identity and maybe becoming a bit more of an art star, maybe going towards shocking people to get attention more than building up a craft and a set of skills that through history had been widely regarded as what it is that you would do to become a fine artist. Back then, art was regarded as a craft, the same as maybe a sign painter or even a jeweler or ceramicist would be today. That all changed with photography. And we're in another crossroads for art today in that AI is sort of influencing how people see things. I think it's going to get really watered down. AI has a certain look, and although it's improved, it's kind of disgusting to me. It's derivative. It's a carbon copy of many other things congealed together. And the thing is, just like with the internet opening up all the potential, you really start to get a watering down. For example, if I wanted to paint an elephant, of which I did, I looked it up on Google, and any other person who looked up elephant on Google would get nearly the same searches. And so instead of discovering and understanding the form or sculpting something and lighting it yourself, we get a watering down where more and more things look like the common center. It's like a gray mass in the middle. And AI seems to be doing that as well. For me, it was the travels. It was the going to Europe to really figure out, again, in my art journey, what it is I wanted to accomplish. Now, this is leading to something in that the reason I opened the atelier to make arts better in Calgary, because I started to see what we were missing here. It's a relatively young city. And also, selfishly, in order to advance myself, through teaching, you learn. Through the challenge of always having to give good demonstrations, you have to get better and better. And more importantly, by building a place like this, where every day I would come to work, rather than the isolation of working in the studio alone, I would build a community around me and schedule regular figure sessions in which I would have to attend because someone has to run them. In 2015, when I heard about the C-Space project looking for tenants, at that time I didn't know I was going to open an art school. I first thought that it was just going to be my own private studio. I was under the impression that that's what the building was going to be, and they asked me if I would like to do a site visit. And I declined because I knew it was going to be decrepit and falling apart, and maybe it would scare me out of doing it. So I had signed on the dotted line and crossed my fingers And by 2017, I think it was January 2nd, I was the second person to move in. And I walked into this empty classroom. And it was just white with the wainscoting. And the first thing I did was make this atelier green and paint the walls because that was the cheaper thing I could do. And brought in a table saw and started building and ordering the equipment in which to fill the room. I didn't actually open for classes until Valentine's that year, and at first I gave all the classes away for free. But I had been teaching at ACAD, which is now AU Arts, for I think a decade. So I already had experience teaching, but I wanted to do it in the way that I had learned about in the ateliers in Europe and have a very structured academic approach. And when I first started offering courses in the bar drawing and classical drawing, a lot of the feedback I got from the clientele or the audience that was participating in that was that it was too difficult. And because it's a business, I have to go and follow the ebb and flow. But at that time, classical drawing and figurative was very popular. There were 5 places you could go to in the city. Now it's down to 3. A private group on Sundays, Swinton's on Tuesdays, and my place, which has it 5 times a week. So by opening this atelier, I could truly be married to my work. If I could live in here, oh, I would. I feel like this place and myself is really holistic. There's a language and there are certain skills in order to accomplish the goals we want creatively. And I find every week I'm thinking about my students. I'm cataloging what I'm seeing because I really am invested in their growth. And that helps me grow as well. And it's every day this sort of battle of philosophy. There are voices in my head of what I've been taught, and they're all in there battling each other in a fight for dominance in how to make better work. With the effort that I put in, with the constant bags under my eyes, but also with the energy I present. I don't come to work to help my students half-assed. All the while, I'm trying to improve my craft. What I found is, amongst what I had learned before, or what you learn by doing, a lot of what I think we can learn here is from the community, from each other, from looking at all the pieces of work through the stages of creation, of seeing how someone who's sitting across the room treated the knee, and how you see the knee from your view in another way, but how their solution can be used. Drawing from life is one of the most challenging things. I think the most difficult thing to draw is probably a naked man and a naked woman galloping on a horse. You have everything in that. It's also would be very hard to get them up the elevator and to model here at the atelier. But by doing the hard things, by really training our eye in the sense of like pre-photography that flattens it, it gives you the data, it gives you the information, but we need to learn how to do more, how to make the form look like it's turning away. That's not present in a photo. In fact, we get so stuck sitting in our spot that it's not present from our position when we're drawing from life either. But it's when we take that break and we sit up and we see around the form how we can make better pictures by the knowledge that we know in 3-dimensionality. There's no real conclusion to an episode like this, but it being titled, Then What Happened, kind of gives a sense of what the next thing always is when we're creating art. What happens next? We're reacting to what's happening on the page, what's happening in the paint, and maybe somberly contemplating if it means anything. Maybe it's just something pretty. So if you like this sort of thing, do the things for the algorithm. Like, share, subscribe, loving the comments below. That really fills my gas tank. So I'd like to say ciao for now. By sharing a little of this, I hope you peer into the workings of my mind as I venture forth in these talking heads